That's a good nigun to start with. Ashkayach, thank you. Okay, Shukayach. Thank you everyone for being here. So happy everyone's here. So glad we have a chance to learn. It should be strong. It should be tonight's a very beautiful night. Did everyone count already or not yet?
Not yet.
So I counted, so I can tell you.
For your,
It's out. Tonight is a very one of my favorite spheres because it's Tiferet Shabbat Tiferet. It's a very beautiful night. Tiferet Shabbat Tiferet. So it's a very special night for us in our household and all of Am Yisrael. Beauty. I'll just give you a quick. You could watch it later, but just tell you quickly. Live and in person. If I remember correctly what I said, I hope I'm mechaven to. I said that this is what I said. Yeah, that when something's beautiful to us, it begins to become less beautiful when I begin to dissect it and try to understand why it's beautiful to me. So Tiferet Shabbat Tiferet is letting go of the need to decipher, to cut up and figure it out.
Take the whole gestalt.
Yeah, and let it be. Just let it be as beautiful as it is. So those things, and what's really amazing is that most things in life, when they're untouched like that, they remain more beautiful and they have more of an impression on us. And they're poyal, they're able somehow to cause more of their beauty in us. So Tiferet Shabbat Tiferet is I think that's why we were saying that it's the night tonight that let me not feel the need to cut up things to figure out why I think they're beautiful. Let beauty just be beauty. Tiferet Shabbat Tiferet. You know, Torah is like that also. Like, why does this Rebbe speak to me so much? Because he does. Why does this teaching talk to me so much? Because it just does. And it's fine. Why does this nigun touch my soul? It's been 3 weeks now. It probably reminds me of when I was 7. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but sometimes I would say, well, let it hit. Let it hit. The beauty of all beauty. So tonight, we're going to learn, well, not going to be, I don't think it'll be too long, but we're going to learn a piece I always stayed away from every year because it's such a wacky story. The end of our parsha, out of nowhere, there's a story that is very, 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 very strange. It really seems like it's coming out of nowhere, and you see that the mefarshim get hit by it, and they're like, whoa, we gotta stop here and not just give a regular perush. We have to stop and try to figure out what is this story doing here. There are many things in our lives that when they happen to us, and even for many years after they happen to us, we wonder, why did we have to find out about this? Or what is it that we were supposed to learn from it? Because it could seem like, מה זה קשור אליי? What does it have to do with me? And for years we could figure out, we could hold on to this inside of us, and the more we don't understand what it has to do with me, but if we know it's in our life, it causes some kind of tension between us and the Ribono Shel Olam. What I mean to say is, when we go through the real painful stuff, that it wasn't even our fault, but we go through it, or it happened to us, or we found out about something that messed with our mind. We ask ourselves, Ribono Shel Olam, why did we have to go through this? And it can begin to grow inside of us some kind of a taina, some kind of a claim. Last night, 4 in the morning, this morning, 4 in the morning, Tiferet, this beauty, our 9-year-old, woke up and just ran into our bed and started saying, she started screaming about the nightmare. Her first nightmare with Nazis's.
First nightmare, what?
I don't want to say their names. Nazis's, right? Her first nightmare with going through it. And she started saying, she was like half asleep, she's like, why did I have to find out about that it happened? The Holocaust. So that's not my cheshbon. Unless I start blaming myself for sending her to school and putting her in society, which sometimes I do feel, a little bit guilty about that. But there are things that happen to us that is, I'm not talking about that. There are things that happen to us that it's beyond us. But specifically, when the Torah tells us something, it's to let us know something very important. So we're gonna learn briefly part of the story, and we're gonna see איך זה קשור אלינו through two mefarshim that I don't think we ever learned here. One we definitely never learned here. One maybe we did. And I'm very excited about it because every year I stayed away from it, and tonight I have either the very stupid holy chutzpah or just holy chutzpah to attempt to think that we could actually figure this one out. And this, of course, we're referring to the end of Parshat Emor, is referring to the story of the Mekalel, the cursor. Not just the cursor, the way the Torah calls it, the Jewish man who cursed. I think we're going to be talking a lot about it also on Shabbos, because when I started getting into it, I saw, whoa boy, this is massive. This is really a huge, huge topic. It's a huge sugya. The Ishbitzer has a very long piece in the Me'er Shilayach on it that I learned many years ago from Rav Natan Greenberg. Actually, we were together in Passaic, New Jersey for Shabbos Emor. It was the Shabbos Kala of friends of ours that we went into the wedding. He gave it over, and it was so beyond, and I tried to do it on my own many years, and it's still, it takes a lot, because it's a very big piece. So we're going to learn the psukim, like you see on top over here. We're going to learn a little bit of Chumash. Vayetze ben isha Yisraelit, vehu ben ish Mitzri. Betoch bnei Yisrael. Vayinatzu b'machane ben ha-Yisraelit ve'ish ha-Yisraeli. Very, very... I want to get the words exactly right in English, so I have it over here. I want to read for you. The son of an Israelite woman went out, and he was the son of an Egyptian man among the children of Israel. And they contended in the camp, the son of the Israelite woman and the Israelite man. There was a fight, right? It seems like it. Vayikov ben ha-isha Yisraelit et Hashem, vayikalel. Now this is very interesting. The son of the Israelite woman pronounced the name of Hashem, and here it says blasphemed, meaning he cursed. Vayaviu oto el Moshe, and they brought him to Moshe Rabbeinu because they had no idea what to do with this guy. Shem imo Shlomit bat Divri lematet Dan. Vayanichenu b'mishmar lifrosh lem al pi Hashem. The name of his mother was Shlomit, the daughter of Dibri, of the tribe of Dan. They placed him under the guard to clarify for them through Hashem. And then later on in the parsha, it says, Vayotziu et ha-mekalel el michutz lamachaneh, וירגמו אותו אבן, they took him out of the מחנה, and they stoned him to death, ובני ישראל עשו כאשר ציווה השם את משה. And they basically did what Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu that should be done with him. Where else do we see a very similar outcome in terms of punishment and how it came about? It's not yet in the Torah, it's later in the next Sefer.
Gathering firewood.
The Makoshesh Eitzim, Rav Ravender has a whole shir comparing this story and the one that gathered the woodchopper in the desert, Tzlofchad, the daughter, the father of the 5 girls who later become the big rebbes and the heroes, right? Fascinating story. Very interesting. Who is this person that's coming out? What's bothering him so much? And why? What does it mean to curse Hashem? I'll tell you something startling. I had a friend many years ago. He became a Baal Tshuva as a late teen. And then a few years later, for whatever the reasons were, he kind of like not so much anymore. And he had told me that one day when he had enough strength, he went into a certain shul, he put on his tefillin in the middle of the shul, and he cursed Hashem because he was so angry. Now what's so crazy about that is that you have to have so much God awareness in your life to do such a thing.
That's true.
No?
Yeah.
How much awareness of Hashem do you have to, like, what does that say about a person like this? It just says one thing, they're in so much pain. But the awareness of the Ribono Shel Olam is pretty
This
fascinating.
is the way lahachis.
It's amazing.
What I tell you in the shul lahachis.
It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. Psychologically, when you think about it, it's an amazing thing.
I feel like it's as close as he could be to Hashem. Not lahachis, but like he's getting closer than close by putting on the tefillin and going to shul. He could have cursed him anywhere else where there was some distance between him and God.
Or he could have forgotten about Hashem, which is the exact opposite of what happened in this situation. But what we might get into this aspect of the story, but what does it say about a person when you get to a place that you can curse Hashem?
Well, you actually feel like you have to do it with Hashem. Like, he wasn't just doing it out to the world or taking it out on another human being, but he was...
Right. It says he pronounced Hashem's name, meaning he said every letter of Hashem's name, he pronounced the name very clearly, and then he cursed the Ribono Shel Olam. So there's a lot here, there's a lot in this parsha, but what I wanted to point out is the following thing. All the Mefarshim are trying to understand what is the Torah trying to tell us about this story. Is it about letting us know what happens to someone who curses Hashem? Because if that's the story, look at the next source you have. We're already told in the end of Sefer Shmot, Elokim lo tekalel v'nasi be'amcha lo ta'or. The Torah already tells us, relays to us the prohibition of cursing the Ribono Shel Olam. Meaning this is not, so it can't be the Torah is here to tell us a chiddush about cursing Hashem, because we already know that this is already taken care of previously.
It's not all about Adam Makom. You would think from first reading the story that this is about him.
Please speak up.
Sorry, you would. I was saying this is. I think just from looking at the story is about a Ben Adam, a way to treat Ben Adam L'Chaviro, not Ben Adam L'Makom. That you would think from on first reading that this is he cursed God between him and God. But if that was the case, it wouldn't have to give the backstory of who he was fighting with. But it specifically says that who he's fighting with, and
Right.
when you read it, I was shaking a little bit because I could easily see this happening.
Because what?
I could easily see this happening. This sounds like two people who are in different places in their religious spectrum, or are somebody's saying you're not. Please excuse me for adding in, but that you're not a real Jew. You're the son of a Mitzri, and the son of the Israeli and the Mitzri, who is a full and complete Jew, is cursing the people that the people that God made, that they could treat another human like that.
Well, this is never apologize for just revealing Divrei Elokim Chaim ever in your life. What you just did, that's Aleph. Bet, right on. Look, because of what you said, jump down to the Kli Yakar in the page. Now, I wanted to just get us acquainted with these names a bit better, because we know we know Reb Nachman, Reb Ishbitzer, the Alter Rebbe, but it's also good to know those that show up in Mikros Gdolos as well. The Kli Yakar, right? So his name, Shlomo Ephraim ben Aaron Lunchitz, and he's, as you see over here, middle of the 16th century. The Kli Yakar is very unique. We've learned the Kli Yakar here before. The Kli Yakar in the parsha is absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now he says, in order to understand this story, let's figure out who this guy was. What does the Torah tell us about him? That he has an Egyptian father and a Jewish mother. And let's figure out more about this guy that ends up cursing God. What can lead a person to curse God? Let's look at who he is. So this is based on the Midrash. So the Kli Yakar says that his father, the Mitzri, hu ha-Mitzri, sheharago Moshe b'shem ha-Meforash. Remember when Moshe Rabbeinu, in the beginning of his humble career, comes out and he sees an Egyptian smiting a yid, right? And he says, "Vayifen kol acho vayarki en ish vayachet ha-Mitzri vayitmeneu b'chol," and he hits the Egyptian, and this is the story about when he calls out, basically he used Hashem's name, and he killed the Egyptian, right? He's saying that's the father of this dude, Ben Ha'ish HaMitzri. This is his son. His son? It says it's an Israelite mother, right? So remember who this guy was that he killed? He had raped Shlomit Bat Divri, this Jewish woman. And from that came this kid, this guy, who ends up going out and also using Hashem's name, but for the opposite. Fascinating, huh?
Where's all the backstory to this in the Torah?
No,
All the details you're filling it in with?
This is Midrash, this is the Gemara, this is all our Masorah, Torah Sheba'al Peh. So look what he says here. Hu ha-Mitzri shehargo Moshe b'shem ha-Meforash. Al ken kol hayamim hayam megadef betoch libo. He spent his life megadef betoch libo, cursing in his heart, inside. Why? He said, how could it be that I exist like this? That this guy raped my mother, I'm the result of it, and then Moshe Rabbeinu kills my father. Talk about like issues that you have from childhood, right? V'lo noda bechutz hadavar. But what does the Kli Yakar says? But no one knew about his rage that was happening his whole life, this guy. V'chol ha-mechalel shem shamayim beseter nifra'im mimeno bagalui. It's a famous statement from what we're busy learning now, Pirkei Avos, that when you desecrate Hashem's name beseter, privately, don't worry, you have to pay for it bagalui, in public. Al ken sivev Hashem, so Hashem made it happen, sheyetze me'ohalo betoch bnei Yisrael, kedei shetegale ra'ato bakahal. So Hashem made it be that he would come out, because it says vayetze ben Aisha Yisrael. Where did he come out from? He was living amongst the Yidden. Why? He's the son of a Yid, of a Jewish mother. But inside he never felt really shayach, never felt really part of anything. Why? Because he held it against who? Either Moshe Rabbeinu, it's not, but definitely against Hashem. And the Kli Yakar is saying, look at the first word of this whole parsha. It says Vayetze ben Aisha Yisraelit, but it's very interesting because it doesn't say like where he went to or whatever. It just uses the word Vayetze, that he left. So the Kli Yakar is saying, look over here in the third line.
Read it as he came out.
But why dafka does he say that word he came out? V'yachol liot shelekach nemar vayetze. Why? Ki b'Moshe ne'emar vayetze Moshe el echav. Because the word vayetze is also the first word that describes Moshe Rabbeinu's beginning of his episode of meeting this guy's father. It's gewalt. So he's saying vayetze over here is connected to vayetze when Moshe Rabbeinu came out, found this guy's father and killed him. Gam ani etze legadef. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna also go out and use God's name. B'Moshe ne'emar vayifen ko v'cho vayar ki en ish. What's the difference between these two people? The Kli Yakar says. Moshe Rabbeinu goes out, and what does he make sure that there is or isn't? That no one's there, that no one can see such a thing. That opposite, right? B'tzin'ah. But he says, I'm going to do the exact opposite. Ani etze betoch b'nei Yisrael. I'm going to go out and be in the kahal, la'asot barabim, to do this in public. Now, I read a few I could already tell where these torahs were coming from. They weren't exactly coming from Beis Medrash of people with Yirat Shamayim, but I read a lot of essays online about this story, because obviously, what's the 2019 approach to a guy like this? Oy.
He needs therapy.
Where
was the establishment?
Where was the establishment? Yeah.
He does need therapy.
Granted, he needs to correct, but like, it was all like, biblical critique pieces on.
He was an abuse victim that nobody took care of.
Right. So now let's go back inside to the original question. Now we have a little bit more of an Indian of who this guy was. What's the question that we had? Every word of the Torah is Kodesh Kodashim. Kodesh Kodashim. What's the point of telling us this story? Again, if it was to teach us about how wrong it is to curse Hashem, Aleph, my mind should know on its own that it's probably not the holiest thing to curse the Ribono Shel Olam. And bet, I was already told this in Sefer Shmot, with that pasuk we saw already before. Elokim lo tekalel v'nasim amcha lo ta'or. So what's the reason that I'm learning this? So
Here, in Dafka, here.
Sorry?
In Dafka.
Dafka here bichlal is very wondrous, but half the Mefarshim speak about the reason why it shows up here in the parsha. On Shabbos, we're probably going to talk about why it shows up in the parsha. But tonight we're going to understand, hopefully, why it's bichlal even in the Torah.
Why is it there?
Why is it even in the Torah? Not just location in the Torah, but why is it in the Torah? And the way that we're going to see it is through someone that I don't remember ever learning in this home, Rabbeinu B'chaye. You've heard of Rabbeinu B'chaye, was one of the top students of the Rashba. The Rashba, Reb Shlomo ben Aderet. The Rashba was a physician. He was a doctor. He used to see a lot of patients every single day. In his mind, he was a genius. The Rashba has tons of svarim, halachic shailas and shuvas, and perushim. The Rashba is a giant, and it's all based on the Ramban. It's the Ramban's approach. Now, if you look at his Nachmanides, he's alive in the middle of the 13th century. He is 300 years before the Kli Yakar. And Rabbeinu B'chai is going to show us something beautiful. I know this is generally not the way we learn, but I got so excited about this, and I think we'll see how he brings it down, and it'll shed a lot of light. And it'll bring a lot of great parables and inyanim that we could really understand in our lives why the Torah would share such a thing. So it says, he asks our Shaila, Lama hutzrecha Torah b'sipur ha'maaseh hazeh, sheira lehem b'midbar. Why did the Torah tell us, why did it need this story? What was the purpose of it? V'haya ra'ui le'astir ha'inyan l'kvod Hashem ve'lo legaloto klal. It seems it would have been much more kavodic had what? The Torah would have concealed the story. Why? Because it's pretty...
It's a dishonor to Hashem.
Correct.
Right.
Why do I have to know that someone half yid or full yid or even if he was not Jewish at all, who cares? It's a Ben Adam. Why do I have to know about someone cursing God? Again, why do I have to know about certain things in my life? Why is it? רק שיודיע הדין לישראל בכלל, ויאמר. The Torah could have just said, איש כי יקלל אלוקיו ונשא חטאו. So whoever curses Hashem, he has a chet, v'nokev shem Hashem mot yumat, and you spell out Hashem's name for nothing, or even for using it for a curse, you shall be dead. Ki gam b'nei Noach, hem muzarim al birkat Hashem. Even the non-Jewish world, they are warned over using Hashem's name. Ve'en tzarich lomar Yisrael. Don't even say this is a Jewish thing, but the fact that we know, it's from the tribe of Dan. The Torah even gives his lineage. He tells us where he's from.
Oh, Yaakov.
That's like the whole thing becomes even more of a, what is the Torah telling us by this? So I know our minds and our hearts are already jumping forward 1,000,000 miles ahead. Let's just mitbatel to the way Rabbeinu B'chaya says this. It's something amazing. V'nir elomar, he gives two answers, two very deep answers. V'nir elomar, ki kavanat ha-Torah b'sipur ha-ma'azeh, azeh l'shtei to'aliyot. You know what to'elet means?
Possibilities.
The purposes,
The effective
benefits. Like you're allowed to say lashon hara if it's l'to'elet of saving a parnasa. It's like the halachas of lashon hara. L'to'elet means what's the purpose of it, right? So he says the reason the Torah told us this story is for two purposes. Ha'echat lehodi'enu she'en echad miYisrael nechshal bechet עצום כזה כי אם הפושע הרשע המוחלט אשר הוא בעיקר תולדתו פגום מצד אביו ואמו.
Oh, wow.
This is really far out. And I know that most of you won't agree with what Rabbeinu B'chaya says, and that's okay.
It's very heavy.
It's very
I
heavy.
think it's very progressive.
It's funny, I see it exactly the opposite.
I feel like he's saying he couldn't help it. He's already pagum because of his parents.
Because, well, yeah, but
No,
here
it's not
he's
what it
not
says.
saying, no. It is saying that, but he's not saying, he's not, I'll translate and then we're going to go back to what you said. This is very important. He's saying, the first reason is to show us that there's no way that someone who's born fully Jewish could ever end up doing such a thing. That seems to be what he's saying.
It's very awkward.
Correct. Now let's get into it. What you're saying is that no. He could be fully Jewish, but there's a pagam in his mommy or in his daddy. That the blemish must be coming.
He's questioning his lineage, meaning like she wasn't a full that it
The
can't
father's
be
Egyptian.
Right.
The father's a rapist. He's saying
He's a Jew.
doesn't matter.
mother's Jewish.
It doesn't matter. First of all, back then, what did it go by?
Oh, that's right.
That's one thing that you could say.
They went by
Patriarchal.
That's not what it says.
But that's not the. I'm stam threw that out there. That's not the reason. I'm stam saying. You know when it switched over, right? Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech had 1,000 wives, and it started right. So that's they say that it then. Anyway, to get back to the point, what he's saying over here, according to this, is that if you have a solid foundation of Yiddishkeit from both sets of parents, there is no way that you can end up reaching the level that this person reached. That's what he's saying. Now, this is not, I also had trouble understanding what he was saying, and I found a shir given by the chief rabbi. Today, I never learned from him. Rabbi Lau, the son, who's the chief rabbi today, right? Rabbi David Lau. I've been with him at many, many functions. Our fathers are friends for many years, and I think I even went to him to L'Irashem to become married, because my wife is from that. He was the rabbi of Modi'in. I think we even went there. But I watched a shir of his, a brilliant shir on this topic, and he explained it as the following. Because obviously, if you want to tell me right now, only if your mother is Jewish and your father is Jewish, if one of your parents aren't Jewish, you could come to such a situation. That's very hard to say. That's what Rabbeinu B'chaya means. But what it means is that if you're able to give over to your children from both sides of the family, solid foundation of what it means to be a Yid, as low as your child might get to, you won't reach the level of cursing Ribono Shel Olam, meaning of mechaling Shem Hashem b'farhesia. Okay, now listen to this story. He based it on this story that he heard from a survivor. It's still the week of, Yom HaShoah. It's actually still the generation of the Shoah. Now, even if it's last, we're still there till Mashiach comes. We could still always go back to these stories. Listen to this amazing, amazing story. There was a Yid, his name was Chanoch. He told Rabbi Lau this story. That the town that he was from in Poland, before the war, one of the Jewish kids, actually, from the town, already became a big, came from a yeshivish home and everything, whatever, but he became rebellious. He started hanging out with the wrong people. And before you knew it, he was really up to no good. Somehow, this Jew worked himself up in the district, and he ended up becoming the so-called mayor of the town. But he was disgusting to the Yidden. Like, he was really bad. What happens in 1939? Good Jew, bad Jew? Did the Germans care?
Everybody else.
So they come to this town. I forgot the name of it. Maybe he didn't even mention it. And they round all the Jews up, like they always did. Yimach Shemam. Their name should be blotted from the face of the earth forever. And a rumor had it that they forgot to round up one more Jew. Who was it? Somehow a rumor came that that guy, they didn't put him inside, right? So they called him forward. Whatever his name was, said, "Come here. Are you Jewish?" He said, "Are you crazy? No way." It's like, no. The rumor has it that you might be a Jew. It's like, Jewish? If I was a Jew, you think I'd treat these animals like, the way I've treated them? He said, ask them if I ever did anything nice for them. So they asked me, they said, this guy never did anything nice to us. And then the Germans were like, they weren't sure, like, I don't know, something tells us this guy might be a Jew. He's like, try me. Nothing. So these animals, they put him into shul. They took out a Sefer Torah. You know this story? Opened it up, put it on the floor. They shoved a hose in his mouth, put on the water. And they told him, if you're not Jewish, excuse me for saying this, relieve yourself right now on this Torah. And he looked at them and he realized that he couldn't. So he said to them, I can't. I don't know, I'm not able to do it. They said, he's giving reasons. No, I don't have to relieve myself. He said, really? Okay. They made him drink a lot, and they did all these whatever things to him. He said, no, do this. No, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He said, couldn't do it? Lie down in here right now. And they burned him with the Sefer Torah. They burned him in front of everyone. And they got so tired from dealing with this guy that the rest of the town was saved. That's how this survivor was able to tell the story to the Rabbi Lau. Late that night, they went back to the shul and they took him with the Sefer Torah and gave him a burial and realized that this holy Yid saved their life.
In that one moment.
So what the way that Rabbi Lau had taught this Rabbeinu Bechai, the first piece, you understand, you can reach the lowest of the lows, but as long as there's some basis that you received from home of what it means to be a Yid, then you can't get to this place. This guy, according to Rabbeinu Bechai, lacked that. Because it could be, sorry, what do you want to say?
Why can't it be, there's a whole section of Tanya that talks about these Pekamim. Why can't that just be what he's referring to?
Because this is 300 years before the Tanya.
Well, but the Tanya bases it on Rabbeinu Bachya's Rabbi's.
No, he actually bases it on the Arizal, who's 200 years after him.
When was and the Shla was when?
This is the 1500s, this is 1300s. You could, that's just not what he's saying.
Wait, he says it's the same Lashon or what?
Just one word, pagum.
Well, that seems to be the main word that he's talking about.
We could read it again. He says, "Ima poshea harasha muchlat asher hu bi'ikar toldato pagum mitzad aviv ve'imo. The reason that he's able to say this is because the Torah tells us who his father was. That's what he's saying. The reason why Rabbeinu Bachai is using this lashon is because he's explaining to us why did the Torah tell us.
Because it would tie into what the way the Tanya teaches the whole issue of the pagam, without getting into it, because of the nature of how this child was conceived. That from that moment of conception, there was this, not just a small pagam.
Could be. It could be, but I see that it sounds the same because it's the same lashon, but it's taking it to a different extreme. He's saying over here, if you're able to mechal Shem Shamayim like this, on this level, the pagam that caused it is much deeper than just a bad thought at the moment of conception. The pagam that causes you to act like this guy is your father's a rapist. Your father's a rapist. But it was really, the point is to put fear into Yiddish parents, or not fear, I would say koach, to remember that no matter how low your children may fall, Chalila, if you gave them some level of a basis in Yiddishkeit, they can never get to this level. That's what Rabbeinu Bachai is saying, is answer number one. So even though it seems very not politically correct, it's very encouraging the way he's talking about believing in the chinuch that you gave your children. Trust the chinuch that you gave your children, even if it seems that they're off, they're not going to be this off. Okay?
The Rabbi Lau's story is, it's like that to the extreme.
Right?
Meaning, that's why we have no Ben Surah or Emor.
Right? That never happened.
That's the story.
Yeah?
Like I'm reading this Shoah book that Shoshana was quoting from last week.
Which one?
Quoted from my Zaidi, the camp that my Zaidi was in.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And I'm reading stories of these kapos. And it's like,
Pass me the water, please.
sometimes they were even more cruel than the Nazis that are described. And the Nazis are the worst of the worst. And then in walks this chubby Jew wearing a fur jacket and starts just tormenting.
Right. So according to Rabbeinu Bachai, what would you say about that Yid?
That there was a pagam, some type of, that it couldn't, it can't be. But then you take Rabbi Lau's story and say, well, maybe he was there for the one chance that he would have to,
Yeah, but I think it actually fits nice because according to what we're saying right now, the pagam that caused those, what do they call the kapos, might have been, it was much more than just a bad thought at moment of conception. If you're able to get to that place, it means the pagam, maybe your father wasn't an Egyptian rapist. But there's something, that's what Rabbeinu Bachai is saying. Because otherwise, and why does he say this? Because he says, he understands, he says, because otherwise, very simple, the Torah wouldn't have told us that he's a son of an Egyptian man. We wouldn't have known that. There wouldn't have been a need for us to know that part of the story. That's how, you understand, that's how Chazal learn out, like, saying, scratching their head, like, they're not saying, let's come up with a good idea. They're starting from saying, why would the Torah let me know this? And they look at every single letter and every single word. Wait a second. That's why the Torah lets me know this. It's a way of learning out Pshat. Then the Vayetz, exactly. Then the Vayetz of Eitz is already another thing. Anyway, that's answer number one. Now let's look at answer number two. Yeah.
On one. I feel like sometimes there's Jewish denial disorder, because I feel like sometimes...
Well, I just don't know what that means.
I just made it up. But,
Oh.
but I think that sometimes people, Jewish parents, don't see some of, like, there's a denial about mental health in children and other significant things that children go through because they're Jewish, because it doesn't impact. So I'm kind of looking at what you're saying, but I'm just thinking that sometimes you have given the best, and you do have two Jewish parents, and you have given, but it's still, something could still happen. And there's, being in education, oftentimes parents, it was very hard on a Jewish end. Mm-hmm. And I guess I see that somehow through this channel, and I don't know how to make sense of it. If you're giving it a blessing to say, when people have given the best, it turns out okay.
Not that it turns out okay.
But there's
it doesn't get as... He's saying, according to him, it's not that it turns out okay, it's that it won't become as bad as doing a chil shem shamayim like this in public. Because something, at the end of the day, something will prevent them from going that far. Even my friend that did what he did, now that I think about it, he did it, and what I told you in the beginning of Shir, he did it, he went into a shul when no one was there and put on tefillin, when the shul was empty.
And he put on tefillin. He didn't go
Exactly.
in and do some illicit
Exactly.
act on the bima.
Exactly.
I think here also, because it only mentions the father once and it keeps talking about the mother, that we see that from both sides he didn't get, like, I feel like they're putting the responsibility on the mother as much as on the father. So I don't know. Maybe
Well, a
there's
whole nother
something
shir would be,
about the
there is
mother.
a whole other shir on this. Again, we're touching one side. A whole other shir on this would be, who was she?
Because he says it's a pagam from inside of you.
Ve'emo, right. So who was she? There's a lot we could talk about her as well. But again, I also I'm holding back from talking about why is it dafka at the end of Emor, because all these different pieces will complete. I'm just trying to get you guys to come to shul on Shabbos. We hear what we learn on Shabbos. Anyway, no, I'm not, but we'll have many more years to learn. I just want to do I want to end off and do the next reason. V'ashenit, because this is beautiful. Okay, v'ashenit. What's the second reason we're even finding out about this story? Ki mikan yitba'er. Do you see the paragraph v'ashenit? Ki mikan yitba'er lanu ikar gadol upina atzuma bibrachot. We're going to learn about brachas. Really? V'ketzad yitchayev ha'adam levarech Hashem. We're going to learn from this how a person is supposed to bless Hashem. Sha'arei ha'mekalel bitchila piresh et Hashem be'otiotav ve'achar kach kilelo. This blasphemer, it says vayikov. That means he spelled out Hashem's name. He thought about the letter, every word, every letter. The name of Hashem was right in front of him. And then he cursed him. Zeu she'amar, this is what it says, vayikov ben ha'isha Yisraelit et Hashem vayikalel. V'nitchayev al zeh be'onesh mita, and he was chayav mita. He was deserving of death, which happened right afterwards, after doing such a thing. V'chen kenegdo le'inyan ha'bracha. The Torah is telling us, look at how a person is so much responsible for what he did because he thought so much about what he did. If he didn't think so much about the name of God, he probably wouldn't have been chayav mita. But because he put so much importance and emphasis on the presence and the awareness of Hashem, it was such a real thing for him that then he cursed Hashem. The Rabbi is saying, the Torah is really telling us, he's saying, how do you do brachas? Do you say brachas with the same amount of awareness that this guy says klelas?
Usually not.
Look what he says here. וכן כנגדו לעניין הברכה והשכר צריך המברך כשהוא מברך את השם שיתבונן תחילה בליבו בפירוש אותיות השם. ברוך אתה השם אלוקים לך מאמץ לך מן הארץ. You ever been at those Shabbos tables? ברוך אתה השם אלוקים לך מהבר פי הגפן.
Yeah, quack, quack, quack.
He's saying over here an amazing thing. When you first bless, when you say bracha, you have to mitbonen tchila belibo, contemplate in your heart, see the letters of Hashem's name. Ubameh shehen morot lechaben behem machshavto. Have an imagery of the name of Hashem. See where that imagery leads you to in your kavanas, he says. Ve'achar kach yivarech et Hashem v'yizkerenu b'fiv. And then, bless Hashem and mention Him in your mouth. Ve'im zeh yikabel scharo, meshalem v'yechyeh chayei adam. With this you receive the reward. Just like the Mekalel made really clearly sure Hashem's name was right in front of him, and then he got his punishment. So too, when you say a bracha mentioning God's name, is it clear to you what's in front of you? Because only like that you get a reward. Zecher lema shekatuv. Now he says, this is basically what we say in Ashrei, Arumimcha Elokai HaMelech, Va'avar Chashimcha Le'olam Va'ed. So deep. We say Ashrei all the time. Look what he says it means. Yomar Arumimcha Tchila. b'machshavti. Aromimcha means I will raise you. Aromimcha Elokai HaMelech. First I'm going to raise you. Where? In my thoughts, in my imagery. I will raise the awareness of who you are, my king, in my thoughts. Aromimcha Elokai HaMelech. And then what do? Va'avarcha shimcha le'olam va'ed. And only then I give a bracha.
Very much ties in. I just heard this year where Rabbi Brown was teaching that essay of Rav Kook about atheism. And his whole thing, I didn't hear, he was an intro to the piece from Rav Kook, I forget what it's called. But that Rav Kook says atheists are there to show to borrow the word, the pagam, of the way that basically we teach, the Orthodox world teaches and the way the Orthodox world behaves. And it's to be matake in all of that. And so that's through Rav Kook's eyes how he was able to.
He's saying over here, like, this
thing.
Makalo is teaching us. Right, both said him, yeah.
How to educate
Nachon.
And how to daven.
Nice, very nice.
Right, so this is like, I know that this is very much not the pshat, but now when you look back at the story and you read the parsha, you'll be like, how else would I understand why the Torah is telling me this? Like, why else would I find out about such a thing? So that Rabbi Lau had finished off. He said this amazing thing. He said the Chatam Sofer, I forget the Chatam Sofer, the Chazon Ish, used to learn every day after davening till like 10, 11 in the morning, and then he had a little tray with food that was ready for him, and sometimes he would fast, and he wouldn't end up eating it. But the people that would prepare the food never knew when he was fasting or not, so there was always a tray prepared for him. So after one morning, one of the guys that was kind of like there hanging out in the Beis Medrash, he saw that the tray was there and it was full of food, and it was after the time the Chazon Ish or the Chatan Sofer used to already eat. So he's like, well, this is going to go to waste. I'm going to eat it. A few minutes later, the Rav comes out. He sees the tray's empty, and he asks the guy. He says, "What happened over here? Who took this?" So, did you eat? I think he said to him, "Did you eat it?" And he's like, "I thought you were fasting." So the Chatam Sofer stops. He's like, "I don't remember if I ate or I didn't eat, but I definitely remember that I didn't bench. That I didn't say any blessings." So it's a very deep story. What was he basically telling the guy? He said the way we live our lives is not like if we remember if we ate things. Yeah, he's like that's what he remembered, that he didn't say a bracha. Let's give up. That's what he remembered. He didn't remember if the food part was part of his life, but he definitely exactly. So anyway, we should be blessed. I mean, I know the first. Listen, I knew I was treading on some crazy water with the first answer of the Rabbeinu B'chai. It's okay. We can handle it. But the second answer is just fills me with so much. First of all, thank you Hashem that I'm 30, almost 39, and I have finally an awareness of Aromimcha Elokai HaMelech Va'avarcha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. First of all, wow. The way I'm thinking about brachas and bechule, and the way that now when I learn, I want to learn like this. I want to learn Torah like not that I'm on the level of smart, but the way that I want to ask myself why do I have to find out about things, but ask it with kedusha and tahara, and Be'ezrat Hashem will speak to us whenever our searching for why do we have to find out about things is reading the Shem Shemaim. You'll come out with Torah like these. Ashreinu, Yeshar Koyach, everyone.
So how did we come out of stop serving Hashem as an ox? 3 years ago, Simpson was in it, just do it, we'll understand it later. So, you just do things, head down, and you just pull the plow. Does this helps me come out of that? Just catching up with things, really paying attention to words now that I've been saying for years.
It's a nice thing when that happens.
There's a story I want to